How do you recognize progression of awakening with your students?
Yeah. So it tends to be a kind of dance, but there is a kind of uh, there's kind of waking up and growing up that both can match, and certainly once once you wake up, you have more of a chance to grow up. In other words, once so so it's almost like introducing the capacity to bear what seems to be unbearable, because having seen a lot of psychotherapists work, just as there's spiritual bypass, uh, I call like psychologists who have no sense of the absolute or any dimension other than animal body mind psychology, the psychological underpass. So they're just doing psychological work. They keep healing their parts. They're very courageous. It's very, they're hard workers. But they're, and so that, that can be a place where they can get stuck in a in a kind of a whirlpool of not progressing. Uh, so I kind of have a sense that giving people a model that awakening is kind of waking up and growing up. It's a next stage of development, that it requires going from functioning with ego centeredness or everyday mind to subtle mind, which is usually mindfulness or inner body presence, to awake absolute or recognition of. I introduce, kind of, don't stop at just absence or no self. I introduce awakeness that knows there's no self. So as that, and then the embodiment process is where this, um, kind of compassionate energy toward parts. Now there's a capacity from that unity mind, unity of emptiness and form. Form is emptiness. As soon as there's that, then there can be a capacity that's not thought based, that's not ego based, to start doing this work um, of healing, and then starting to notice your own behavior, and then starting to move toward heart mind. So I definitely teach this practice, which is kind of an immediate practice that some people works very well, of unhooking awareness and having it drop to decenter, to be aware of your jaw, to be aware of your throat from within. So you're not using attention, looking down, and you're not checking back up, but literally feeling that who or what is inquiring is the awake consciousness itself. So its local center drops and then feels your body from within, and then finds kind of a safe heart space or heart mind, so that you're aware of your heart space. And then you feel this kind of boundless heart. The awareness has your back, it's rising as your body and kind of looking out of the eyes of your heart, so that you've kind of gone out of small self, stayed embodied, and then moved to a kind of traditional center of awake wisdom and compassion, and then start to allow all the information to come down by Wi-Fi to this new. And some people feel it in every cell of their body too, but
Mhm.
there's this feeling of a new location. Um, like the Heart Sutra, that form is emptiness, emptiness is form, is so important. That's kind of the real experiential taste, not the theory. That if that can be described by them in many ways, and whatever they say is like, good, that's it. If they're getting it, I don't care what they call it, you know,
Hmm.
because it's not about matching a very particular description or term.
But
Does that
because it's not cognitive,
make sense?
yeah. But because it's not cognitive, it's a felt experience.
Yes, absolutely. And it's direct perception, but by awareness. So that, you know, that interesting premise of this inquiry style thing is I say to people, I said, I'm going to ask you to unhook your awareness and drop into your heart space, but I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to your already awake consciousness. That's the one I want because it's already installed. That's our hypothesis. So why bother having your ego do anything, any practice? Just have your already awake awareness, which is already inherent within and all around. Just let it focus on your breath. Let it focus from within your breath, from within your, and then open to itself, and then start to be aware of the relative level of
Yeah.
practice. So that's pretty radical premise, but it makes sense, obviously, within almost like reverse engineering awakening to see that like if it's already here, and I can move from it and I can talk and walk, then watch for me losing it. Watch for me getting blended back. Watch for me getting identified or attached. And then how do I return? So that I played with that for a long time. It's like, okay, Kensho, here we go. Talking, walking. It's like, okay, now all I'm doing is I'm waiting. Come on. Who's gonna get triggered? Let's go. You know, and then it was like, and then what is triggering? What does it feel like? What is it, whether it comes from below like shame or comes from above like superego or critic or something? It's like I won't even focus on that. I'm just worried about this. What's this? What's that? Like, and then it looks out of my eyes. It's like, oh, how'd you do that? You know, like let's now how do we go back and now welcome it? Now watch it. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get you. Oh, I'm you. I'm worthless. I can't believe I just did that. That was terrible. That see that? And it was like, I see you, sweetheart. So that's where the parts come in. You start to see a part, shame-based part. It's like, and you can welcome it because you have and you're not welcoming it from a mindful witness. You're welcoming it from same.
Hmm.
So it's outside and within. So it's like a wave in the ocean of your awake consciousness that comes up, but it can't collapse you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much a felt experience that seeing it, I mean, when you're just present with it, um, it all happens by itself.
Yeah.
Pain arises and goes away by itself.
Yeah.
Um, and there's no movement of that which is,
No movement
of that which is. I mean that
that
you're,
which is. Yeah.
that it's a fascinating way of life at that point.
Yeah. And then, but then what is coming and going is made of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then that
Yeah,
becomes,
fun. Absolutely.
so then it is moving. It is kind of moving. It's like, okay, so it is moving. But it isn't coming, going within the sky. It's so that's really a real, that's what lets this kind of equally inside and outside um, ability to focus then on something because you're not focusing on something coming and going. It's just this field that's already always either still and moving and aware and space. So it's all dimensions. And then thought becomes like automatic thought becomes just energy. So you don't need to monitor automatic thoughts that are just neurons firing and they just kind of go into the background. And then you have peace of mind, quiet all the time. If stop talking, it's like there's no habit to monitor.